Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the show. This is Comics News Today, of course, and I am your host, Chester C. Buzzard III. And for some reason, once again, they're doing that to me again. Oh, goodness gracious! YouTube is just wonderful. I just want to say that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much, YouTube, for shutting everything down and turning everything back on again. You guys are awesome. Nevertheless, let me start again. Hi. Nice to have you guys in here, of course. And we're going to be getting to some a little bit of news. We have some interesting news articles, a little bit different today, I'd say. But do keep in mind, please go over there and check out all our links and get involved in the things we're doing. We appreciate that very much. Also, being live streamers that we are, please hit that share button and let your family and friends and extended community know what's going on so they'll be part of it. Also, keep in mind, I haven't said this in a little bit, so I want to say it again. We're always happy to have any guest on the show who wants to come in. This is fan speak after all. So if you guys are interested in coming on the show and saying hi, just hit me up on Twitter and say, Chester, put me on the show, and I shall do that. But other than that, let's get over here and talk to our panelists today. And hopefully our guests will show up. This would be the second time that the guest has been invited, and they're still not here. So we'll see how that goes. But let's start with Todd, the guest inviter.
Right? I'm starting to feel bad. This is not good. Especially when you're in the middle of a campaign, you have a book out, and you want to reach your audience. Let this be a lesson to everyone out there. You really don't want to miss these opportunities to get. Even if it's 20 eyes, 20 eyes might equal two purchases. And if you're not thinking of it that way, then phooey on you.
Well, actually, it can equal a lot more than that because we know that although we don't get as many people live in the end, we do get that kind of standard around 60 some odd viewers on everything we do. Some of our shows get more, but we know for a fact from talking to guests we've had on that our viewers here actually spend money. So this is actually a place where you can pick up a little bit of money, and that's of course the point. We're trying to promote good things. Now, if you don't have a good thing and you're not making money, well, that's on you, right? But we're here to show stuff and give people opportunity to look at it and let that cream rise to the top, as free market agrees with. And it looks like we might just have had someone pop in finally, and maybe he is here. Hello,
That is Zach.
that is Zach. He changed his icon. Hi,
Uh,
Zach.
hello.
How you doing, dude?
Good. Doing good.
So we're just here chastising somebody. But it's okay.
Oh,
We
fun.
can shift it to you if you'd like. Uh,
No,
but
no,
uh,
no.
no, 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 no.
Continue
uh,
chastising.
no, no chastising. Yeah, but anyway, I mean, it is what it is. But it's you can't, you shouldn't do that. But I'll have to go now. I have to go back and adjust two things in my editing in my YouTube, and that's always a pain in the butt. But oh well. But let me see here who's over here in the chat. We got Roger. Nice to see you, Roger. We have Nick W as well. Hey, Nick, what's going on, dude? And we have John Dillard. He says, here I am. Hi, Chester. I'm Todd. Hi, Dinale. Hi, missing guest. Also, I'm here first. Okay, John. Nick W says evening to John. It was very nice of him. Hello, Nick W. And he spelled it with a W, and that very nice. So John's in here, and he's going to entertain us with his angsty hatefulness. Thank you, John. You're really good at that. It looks like we did have our guest show up. Possibly is this the coming in here? Is this Scott?
This is me, man. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. All right. So
Yeah,
Scott
yeah.
is in here. All right. So let me go through the rest of my panel real quick. I'll come back to you in a minute, Scott. So let's come over here to George. How you doing, George?
Greetings, greetings. I'm doing great. I'm drawing one of the last panels in my book, and it's exciting to be here, as always.
Oh, awesome. So you're getting to the end then. That's nice, dude.
All right, there. Have a look.
Oh yeah, no, I see what you're working on, dude. It looks nice. So, are you happy to be toward the end of it and getting it out? When do you think you're going to get that out?
Uh, I'm going through the back and forth with the printer. There's color issues in some pages.
Mhm.
I'm doing tests right now to make sure that the color values on the darker images are evened out, so that way it looks good. It's in layman's terms, it's sort of like when you have a very dark actor on the screen with light actors.
Mhm.
You have to do a color balance so that way everybody looks good.
Awesome. Yeah, and this is kind of interesting thing you got going on.
This is all technical. It's really not artistic at all.
No, well, and I have no clue what you're talking about, but that's not unusual, George. So, it's all good. But thanks for being here, of course. And then, of course, we're joined by the Dinale Lama himself. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing fantastic. Here to talk about news, here to talk with our guests and see what's going on in the world of indie comics.
Absolutely,
So-
and the YouTube, they just frustrate me to death. They're constantly doing stupid stuff all the time. I don't understand who's in charge over there, because I had it all worked out with the volume controls and resets. I had it all worked out. Then they changed it, so I had to go back and work it out all again. And then obviously today they changed it again. What are they doing, Dinale? I swear to God, I'm gonna have to get Booster in his little tight ninja suit and send him Narutoing across the ocean toward him, man. It's outrageous. Every damn time, man. Dude, freaking YouTube. But anyway, guys, let's come over here and say hello to our guest we have today. Now, our guest is the creator of Doorkickers. I do believe he's the writer, and I'm going to come over here and whitebox him and have a chat. Now, first thing I want to know, I'm assuming, Scott, that you have the American pronunciation of your name, and it's McCullough.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay. All right. Good. I always find that's interesting because the Irish or Celtic pronunciation is so much cooler because it is
Yeah.
McCool. Right, but McCullough is a very American way to go about it. But nice to have you here, Scott. So, seeing as you're on, we're going to get to your Kickstarter, or excuse me, your Indiegogo here in a minute. Doorkickers. Now, you are the writer, but why don't you start and tell us who's your team you got working with you, man?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm the writer and the creator. I've got for this go around, I've got Ian Waranto. He's the penciler and inker. He's done some work over at Alterna, so some people may know him from there.
Uh-huh.
In addition to that, on colors, I've got Farah Nurmaliza. This is her first work under her name in America. She's worked with a coloring studio in Indonesia for a while, so she's kind of getting out on her own. And then on the color, I've got two covers. I've got Ted Lehman. He did the cover A. That's the bluish cover, and then it's hard to mistake the Narwhal cover. The cover B is by Narwhal, and man, I'm just I love the dynamic nature that he brings to that.
Oh yeah, he's really
and then
good
rounded
colorist.
yeah, man, he just knocked it out of the park on that one. And then Eric Weathers, the omnipresent Eric Weathers is my letterer, so that rounds out the team.
Yes, Eric is everywhere all the time. He's like a Jeebus.
It's exactly right.
Yeah. No, we of course I'm just joking. We love Eric over here. But awesome, dude. Now, before I bring up the Indiegogo and we start getting into the project itself, seeing as you're a new face here, we've never spoken to you before. We'd like to get to know you a little bit more. So why don't you tell the folks how did you get into writings? How did this comic come to be? All that kind of that background stuff.
Yeah, so I've been a comic reader and just a reader in general. Loved fantasy and sci-fi and all that kind of stuff growing up. But the thing that really kind of clicked is I was dating this girl in college, and she was into writing. And I've written some stuff in the past, but it was just never easy, right? It just didn't come. Like I drew. I was an art kid. All through grade school and even into college, I would have a degree in fine art. But so that always came easy, but writing didn't come easy. Ideas came easy, but the writing them down was hard. And she basically said, writing is just like anything. You just got to do it. And so that kind of got me into writing. And after I kind of broke through that barrier of going through some short stories and things like that, it just kind of started to come a lot easier. And so that's how I got into writing. And it was just kind of a light bulb went off. So just, from then on, I've always been kind of plugging at it. There was a period of time in the late 90s when I had some bites at Image and a couple other places to do writing. I did a bunch of anthology kind of stories and I even wrote some stuff, kind of ghost wrote some scripts from fairly well-known folks, original outlines, and that was a really fun process, and it was really cool. And doing the comic writing thing, I kind of realized, man, I really want to be a screenwriter, because those guys really get paid. Comics writers don't get paid that much. And so that's when I started trying to write screenplays, and I even optioned 2 scripts back in the late 90s. And that was a very exciting and interesting process. And then nothing ever happened.
Oh, I see.
And so, yeah, that's kind of how I got into the writing,
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, that's cool. Unfortunately, the thing you've touched upon is one of the big problems in the industry right now. Everyone wants to be a screenwriter, or wants to have their creation optioned for the big screen, and instead of paying enough attention to being a comic book writer. Now, of
Yeah.
course, this is Marvel and DC, but particularly Marvel's issue, I think. But nevertheless, that's good to hear. So you got yourself some experience. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring your Indiegogo up. So let me just get my share screen all set up here and see if I can't cascade the screen. No, I didn't. All right. So let me go ahead and bring that over. Where did I put that? Oh, there it is. All righty. Okay, here we go. So we have ourselves Doorkickers Panzer Demon. That's an interesting
It's good
name.
to see that I've got over 800,000 yen. That's awesome.
Yes. I actually had switched it back to being in dollars, but everyone was complaining, no, Chester, we like the yen better. I was like, all right, so I put it back. But yeah, people seem to enjoy that. But all right, so we got Doorkickers here. It says special ops use magic and advanced weapons to take on horrific otherworldly creatures. That's interesting. We've seen a lot of mix of modern tech and magic in several projects recently. I guess it's the trend. But from what I'm seeing, just the first thing that pops in my head right here with this piece of art, it's pretty good art, dude.
Yeah,
not bad
I
at
got
all.
so lucky. I got so lucky with Ted on this. I don't know if you guys have seen any of his other stuff. He's Eric Weathers' Flying Fortress campaign. He did the Door Gunner print.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a real talent for kind of, drawing, gear and like the weapons specifically, but he also just has a great eye for composition, and I've been really lucky.
And I see you have a bit of a trailer here on the second one. That's a good
So
idea. Put it there, yeah.
that is not a trailer.
It's
That
not.
is an audio adaptation of the kind of background story on how the Doorkickers team came together. It's a partnered idea I did with some guys over at the Creepy Leaks YouTube channel. It's very cool, and I love plugging it. And I don't plug it enough, but because they basically took a lot of the backstory, the deep history, deep lore, as I like to call it, and they dramatized it like it was some sort of a WikiLeaks kind of release that they got their hands on. So
that's cool.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah.
So it's like an audio storybook or something like that.
Right. It's about 20 minutes long. So if you're sitting there drawing or something, it's a good thing to put on in the background and check it out, especially if you like the Doorkickers concept.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's pretty cool. I'm just kind of going through the art here at the top. Yeah, that's interesting. It's a very different styles across the board, though. It's interesting. So
that's that narwhal.
The narwhal, the last one here is narwhal.
Yeah. Oh no, it's the second to the right.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, that's narwhal.
That's his drawing and coloring. You're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, let me come down here and take a look here. Here's your overview. Would you like to give us that elevator pitch, please?
Yeah. So essentially, the book starts right in the middle of an operation. They're taking down a cult that they've got intel on. They've got word that there is some sort of item at this new site. So literally, page 2, you get the guys kicking in the door. The eponymous Doorkickers, and they go in and they take down this cult using both the guns and the magic. And they find the item on page 7 that really kind of sends them through the rest of the story, ultimately taking down or taking on a pretty terrifying, supernatural WND kind of a threat.
Sure. Well, that's cool. And once again, like I said, we've seen several of these kind of very similar concept recently. It's interesting. I guess it's just something that's. But you see that happen in the movies too. I kind of wonder what that phenomena is. But I guess it's just what's trending right now, or what is in
Well,
people's minds.
you know what's interesting? It's funny you should mention that. Like, I made a joke on Twitter a couple weeks ago about never saying that my book is Lovecraftian ever again. And somebody like kind of took it the wrong way. And I was like, listen, your book is Lovecraftian. My book is Lovecraftian. Tug's book is Lovecraftian. I mean, there's literally like 5 books in the CG realm alone that I could think of that have a Lovecraftian twist to them.
Mhm.
And it's not bad, I think, because everybody recognizes how awesome Lovecraft was and how cutting edge. But at the same time, you're right. I mean, there becomes a kind of a, Lovecraftian almost becomes a, oh, here we go again, type thing. So, I've really kind of gotten away from Lovecraft and focused on the kind of cosmic horror, aspect of it. The whole idea that there are things out there in the universe that are so evil and so pernicious that they don't even care that we exist.
Cthulhian.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean, that's really how I look at it. So,
Well, it's a cool
but you're
theme.
right. I mean,
That's why it works.
Yeah, absolutely, it is.
Yeah, but that's not what I meant. Actually, I get that point, and that's cool. But no, what I meant was a squad of highly trained people going in and dealing with supernatural, magical things. This is like the 3rd book I've seen in the past, I don't know, 6 months. Yeah. But I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's interesting because we see this happen with movies, right? You'll have 2 tornado movies come out, 3 disaster movies come out the same year, what have you. It seems to be a phenomenon that takes place, and it happens in comics too. I just thought it was pretty interesting. But I do have another question for you. Now, obviously, there's no relation to your story whatsoever, but I'm just curious if you've ever heard of Panzer Faust.
Are we talking about the old school, super gnarly, black and white indie comic?
No, I'm talking about the tabletop miniature World War II alternate history game, actually.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know that one. There was an old school game called Panzer Faust, and an old school comic called Panzer Faust, and I just remember that was one of those comics back in the day that I couldn't buy because it was too violent.
Oh, I see. I see.
I finally got my hands on a copy at some point later, but no, I don't know that game. It sounds interesting.
It is, and I didn't even know that comics. That's pretty interesting too. And John, quit trying to make me laugh. I'm trying to be a professional here. Knock it off. All right. Freaking John Dillon. That's awesome, dude. All right, so we got our premise laid up pretty nicely here, and we'll come back and look at your perks in a minute. This cover A is badass, dude. Plain and simple. That's a good cover.
Yeah, and I love the spirit gun in the background. I didn't even ask him to do that. He just kind of came up with that on his own based on, just a description of the character. So when he did that, I was like, happy magic, man. That's great.
Happy magic. I like that. That's nice. But I love this. This is a really good picture. It's very dynamic. The perspective is absolute killer. Who drew this again?
This is Ted Lehman.
Wow. That's really good, Todd. Todd is, we have 2 artists in here with us most of the time, and Todd here, of course, and George as well, are both professional artists. So, Todd, what do you think of this picture, man? I'm digging on this picture a lot, dude.
Yeah, I really like that. That's really cool. Really detailed. It's well colored.
Very well colored. Yeah.
Your eye is drawn to the right things and stuff like that. It's really done well.
Yeah, it's a cool piece, man.
Yeah.
And we see a lot of times people have trouble with perspective and stuff, and I get that it's difficult. I understand that, but this is a killer piece. And then in our cover B here, I'm assuming this is Narwhal, of course. All right.
I love this cover.
It's very Narwhal.
Yeah.
It is cool. I like this one though. This one for sure is really, really good. I love the detail, especially the not only the firearms extremely detailed, they're in motion, and I always appreciate when people can have a dynamic feel to a 2D still image.
Well, so like I always thought when I was coming up with this idea, when I came up with this idea back in the mid 2000s, I always thought if I could have a dream artist on this, it would be Michael Golden. So if this book blew up and I was able to get like a trade paperback because it's so popular down the road, I think I would commission a Michael Golden cover because the work that he did in the NAM and G.I. Joe back in the day just really kind of set the bar real high for me as far as, if you're going to show weapons handling and things like that, his weapons were correct. The detail was there. It looked like it was working, like you said, in motion. That was just a tough bar for anybody to kind of come after him, especially, I'm a former soldier. And so, I know that stuff really well, and it's important for me, and I know it's important to other guys with my background. So, that for the stuff to look right.
What branch did you serve in?
I was up in the Army.
You're in the Army, yeah. I come from a military family myself, so my dad is a Marine though, so he probably doesn't like you very much, I'd assume.
Well, I mean, we appreciate each other.
I'm joking.
We supported those guys. We supported those guys in Fallujah. I felt sorry for them.
Yeah, no, right. But no, it's just funny because hearing the Marine versus Army stuff is funny to me. It's like you guys are on the same side, you know that, right? But I got a bunch of Army guys too in the family. But that's cool, dude. My brother's Army actually. My brother was worked in Bosnia and Kuwait actually. He's one of those Apache, what was he, navigator or something like that, on the helicopter thing.
Oh, right. Sat in the front seat.
I don't know, but he was. That's what he did. I mean, I think he was a navigator. Was his job, but it's still pretty cool.
Dillard in the chat says, I think he meant Michael Turner. No, I meant Michael Golden.
No, he's just don't.
I know it. He's your guy though. I mean, I've been following him along. I just want to interact with him. Seems like a funny dude.
He's a good guy. He's just messing with you. Don't worry.
He is. No, John's a good guy. Yeah, absolutely. And John's a killer artist too. But he has his sense of humor, and he's screaming at us from the chat because everything is capitalized. John, hey Thunder, what's up, dude? And you do realize, John, you have a link at all times to come into this show. You could come in here and speak. You know that, right? Okay. And that's for everybody else. If you want to be in here, come on in. Let me move down though. Now, who's doing the interiors here again, please?
Sorry, I was downing fruit. So the interiors are Iwan Warranto.
Okay.
Warranto.
And Narwhal's doing all the coloring for you.
No. So the coloring is Farah Normaliza.
It's the girl, right? You talked about her. Yeah, that's right.
The female. Yeah. She is, and so she did that cover with Ted, and with Ted uses a lot of really fine lines, which I mean that's okay, but you need to find the right colorist to really make that pop.
Sure.
And absolutely, she filled the bill. I wasn't sure about her. Ian brought her to my attention. But man, I've been just pinching myself every day that I was able to find her. And, after Doorkickers is over, whatever I do after this, as long as she's willing, I'll pay her to come along for the ride.
All right. Take a look here at the panels and various things going on. We got some cultists. We have some magical rites and chants going on. Guns to head. One thing I do appreciate is you have the dialogue in here as well. A lot of times we'll see pages, but it has no dialogue whatsoever. And it's good to have the dialogue so people can read it and get an idea if they like the flow of what you're doing, because you're not only selling the art, you're selling the story, right? We know right well that art is what sells the book and writing is what brings people back. We know that. But I think it's a good thing to have it in there, so I appreciate that.
No, absolutely. And I've got two new pages, two new colored pages that I just released over the week to my newsletter followers. And then I released them publicly today on Twitter. So those pages will get lettered this week. And by the end of the week, hopefully they'll be up on the campaign page. So you get to follow the story a little further, a little bit more.
All All right. Go ahead, Todd.
No, I don't know. There's a lot, it's when you do a military style book, everybody has to be a little bit different, right? Whether you put one guy in short sleeves and one guy in long and da 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 da, because so people can go that when this guy's talking, I know who it is. When that guy's talking, I know who it is.
Right.
You got a few differences, but there's a lot of perspective here that's way wonky, very very wonky. But it's not. I mean, the coloring is good. It helps. It really helps the art. But there's a lot of perspective issues here.
You
But
talk about this this room shot.
yeah, the room
Yeah.
shot with the door, and how the doors are looking that after they've been busted open. And how
Yeah,
those guys are
I see what you're
standing on the
saying now.
floor and stuff.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're too the doorway is too wide for the doors. I get it. Yeah, I see that now. Yeah, I didn't even notice it. Yeah, but I don't know. I think what we have is a couple of red shirts, and we have a couple of characters who probably are more pronounced. They're going to be speaking more. I think is what we have.
So just so as the story goes along, there's certain characters that look easy. They're easy to tell right off the bat. If you want to go back up, I can show you that, and then you'll kind of see the differentiation as you go along. So in this panel right here, you've got the guy with the hood, right? He's on the left.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you've got the second to the left. He's a magic user. He's different because he wears a Roman cuirass type armor. And then you've got the two, red shirts that you said. Well, the red shirts are, oddly enough, Jigna, who is, this is not her bit, right? She is not like the apex door kicker. She's a team member, but ultimately, it's not her part. So her part comes up because those two split off and go after the main item, while Stillon and Marius stay behind to take care of stuff. And so essentially, you've got Bill has got the quad, the panoramic night vision on, so that differentiates him from her. So there is enough. So when they're together, you can tell the difference.
There's nothing that differentiates. Like, I can't tell which one of these characters.
It's okay. I mean, not everybody's eyes actually work. I mean.
They are different to a point. I get what Todd's saying too.
Yeah,
but can you tell which one's a girl? Can anyone tell which one's a girl?
Yeah, go on to the next page. Her face is, clearly feminine.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole point is it's all about layers, right? You're peeling away the onion. I don't have to tell you anything about the initial action because it's action, right?
Right.
You see the magic guy. He's important. Stillin is different, because he just looks different. And those are the guys that are important in that scene. And then every scene, we kind of peel a piece of the onion away. And so by the time we get to that next scene where they've come into the room with a cultist, that's where, she pulls her nods up and his are still down, and she's got the feminine face, and then they address each other by name. So it's a little more subtle than what you're talking about. And I mean, it's like I said, as the story goes along, different characters will look a little differently based on, actual things that are going on in the plot, just an arbitrary, I want to make you look different so that it's set aside. It has to make sense to the story, right?
Right.
But your points are absolutely well taken. I was just fucking with you about it, though. On the
No. I just see if like for instance, those goggles that she's wearing. I think that's the girl you're talking about that she's wearing in one of those panels, going way past her head like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're not even attached to her. You know what I mean? They're not sitting on her nose in the right spot, and the one eye goes way past. But that's easily fixable if this is all digital work.
Are you talking about the sunglasses?
Yeah.
Yeah. The picture of her with the sunglass kind of goes a little too far. It's just one of those kind of things, man. I'm just happy to get the stuff a lot of times. I'm not going to be super picky on that kind of, and I just I choose my battles, right?
Mm-hmm. No, I get you.
Calm down, Todd.
The coloring is really good. Who's saying that?
No, you're
I see.
no. I'll be honest with you. I trust me. I've seen this art more than anybody. I mean, look at that gun. I can go through and pick out all kinds of stuff on that. The helmet in this panel, the third panel, is really good.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of little things that I can pick apart. But ultimately, most folks aren't gonna see that stuff until maybe a second or third look. And as I go along, like for instance, I wasn't super happy with the color because I mean it's at night, so they're not opaque glasses. They're see-through kind of, like eye protection versus like sunglasses. So just little things like that I could nitpick that stuff all day long, but
Why?
ultimately,
Well, hold on. Why don't you though? I mean, it's your
because
project.
I'm with you, but there's also a timeline, and there's certain things that I'm willing to really kind of, to really die on that hill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
All
see.
right, I'd like
Yeah,
to
gotcha.
jump in. Hold on, everybody. I'd like to jump in here. I like what you're doing. It's very organic, and I get what your artists and colorists are doing too. There's a shorthand in some of the imagery because you're not going to sit there and sweat the details. You're reading the story. You're moving from panel to panel. It's ridiculous sometimes to add so much detail in there that everything's perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be. It just needs to convey the message of what's going on. And you keeping the identity of the female hidden as long as possible is even better, because then the reader actually goes, "Oh wow, wait a minute! I thought I was reading a bunch of guys doing all this stuff." You have, from everything I've seen so far, you have crafted a well put together book. Well done.
Over here in
Yeah,
the
thank you
chat,
very much.
hold on a second. Over here in the chat, we do have some comments. Kuzmedi is in here and says that the colorist is amazing. Awesome.
Mhm.
And that's just the chat. Sorry, that's Nick is talking about something. Let's see here. Michael Beacon is in here. Hey, Michael, what's up? March Hare, hey, what's going on? Zaid Comics as well. Hello, hello. Let me see here. Hey, Michael. This guy was talking about you earlier during a cover. I don't know if he was doing that or not, John. But cool. All right, just wanted to catch up there. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, so no, I totally take those points, and the idea. So one of the things that, and this is something I had to come to terms with a long time ago, is that not every artist is Michael Golden, right? So I may, I may put, I literally may draw a scene and think exactly how Michael Golden would draw it, you know, but then you end up working with, so like for instance, the 10-page story I did in 2015, that was the first Doorkickers story. That's the 10-pager that I gave out for free for joining my mail list early on. That was done by Douglas Franchin. And so he's a really cool dude from Brazil, and he had his strengths, and some of like the weapon stuff was not his strengths. And so I learned the lesson as both a writer and as kind of an owner of a property. You got to play to your artist's strengths, right?
Sure.
And so one of the things that I learned is because I was literally going back and forth like 7 and 8 emails, with pictures from the art and arrows pointed toward things, and the artist was like, "Hey, I can do some of that, but some of it I can't do," right? And I'm like, and so that's where I kind of evolved my sensibility. And the other thing to remember, especially in this Indiegogo world, and you guys know this, I mean, you guys are heavily in the scene, is that my biggest hat that I'm wearing is not writer creator. The biggest hat that I'm wearing is publisher. I am the publisher of this book. I'm the business manager. I am all that stuff. And so that's where it's not about necessarily fighting for perfection in my vision as an artist. It's about budgeting my time totally, because you guys are probably in the same boat as me. You guys probably have day jobs too.
Yes.
And it's you can only get so much. And I think there's a saying in the Army that's like, don't let perfection be the enemy of good enough. And I want this overall project to be a great project that people are going to be happy with, that vets are going to read and be able to say, yeah, that guy knows what he's talking about. But if there's a panel like this one that is not perfect, I'm not gonna, wring my hands over it and be like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to do a new version of this.
I see. Well,
and for everything that's like that, you guys wouldn't believe how much stuff I changed. So.
Well, no, I'm not an artist. I'm a consumer. And as far as I'm concerned, it looks fine. I love the coloring. I think the coloring is really well done. And it's fine. It's a very stylistic book. Trust me, we've had a lot of stuff on here, not even close to this level, dude. But I think it's fine. I get now that Todd mentions it, I get it. I do see that, particularly the door. I think that's really the only thing I see. But yeah, I don't mind the rest of the stuff. It's fine. Yeah. I did just kind of assume they were red shirts though. But if it goes on and it brings them out and individualizes their character, well, that's just part of the storytelling, right? So
right. No,
yeah, it's all good.
absolutely. And I totally appreciate, you guys bringing a critical eye to this, because ultimately we need to do that to each other. We need to have some real talk, because while this is artistic, it's not art. This is not art. This is a commercial product.
Sure.
Ultimately, I'm not creating this so that my artistic vision is sold to the world. I'm bringing it so that you guys can buy a comic and you can enjoy it. And, that's what the objective is for me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I know a lot of other guys have a different kind of objective, but I appreciate everything you guys are saying, and I hope you guys all back the book.
Yeah. Well, I do want to cover one thing. John says Chester is a scene kid. I don't know what that means, John. Explain it to me, because I should be laughing, I'm sure. But one thing I do know, I do like.
I know exactly what he means.
I have no clue what he means. Someone explain it to me.
Chester, do you know what he's talking about?
I have no clue. Yeah.
So back in the old days, like I was in high school, I was a punk rock kid, right? Skateboarder punk rock, right? And so I didn't listen to regular music. I listened to punk rock. And every weekend you would go to local punk rock shows. And it was the scene. It was the punk rock. It was the Louisville hardcore punk rock scene, right? And it was all about the scene. And you had these kids that were called scene kids, right? And scene kids were like they come in different stripes. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you had a very kind of dominant, like us versus the rest of the world type of thing. And if there's any kind of like non-purity, it was just kind of like looked down on and just kind of, even if it was great, you know what I mean? Just because, they're not fucking punk rock, man, or whatever.
So you mean like a poser?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, they look down.
Screw you, John Dillard. I'm no poser, you bastard.
Well, no, you're not a poser. You would call people posers.
Oh, I see. All right. Okay. I get it. So I'm not a poser, John Dillard. Thank you very much. But anyway, what I wanted to say related to the book is I do like the logo or the title, Doorkickers. I think it's really cool. And if this thing is sitting on a shelf with this cover A here, it's going to sell, dude. People are going to pick that up, and they're going to go look at it because it's really nice. I like the Doorkickers as well. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to go over and cover a couple pieces of news, Scott, and we'll stick around, give your input, and then after that, we're going to come back and take a look at your perks at the end of the show. All right?
Awesome,
let's go ahead and bring that up, and we'll start getting into our news. And thank you very much, John, or I hate you, John. Whichever applies. I don't know. But Dinale, what is this?
All right, so a while back ago, California introduced a law censoring ages for actors because they said that showing the ages of actors would limit their workability, and that was ageism against them. We talked about this, how dumb that is, because if you're a good actor, it doesn't matter what age you are, people will continue, hiring you. Now, they're trying to appeal the strike down from the California judges in appeals to revitalize this law to get it back on the books and remove the age of all the actors online. And right now the judges are not impressed with their arguments.
Well,
and and it's pretty stupid. Just to say it.
It's stupid on many levels. First of all, actors always lie about their age anyway. So what's the point of that? And secondarily, all I have to do is look at you. I don't think when you come in and you do a testing, a tryout to get the piece. I don't think that they actually care what your age is. They're simply looking at you. Now, this lady right here, I don't know who she is, but this lady in particular, if we're looking for like a youngish grandma or an old mom or something like that. Well, then maybe I'm looking at her face. I'm saying, okay, well, that's perfect for what I'm casting. If we're looking for a young hottie, she's not it. I don't need to know her age. You know, it's really
She was old back when she was in Beverly Hills 90210. I remember her.
Well, I mean, there you go. But I mean, you need that kind of look too. This face is needed as well, and then of course, if you can act on top of it, you're good to go. But it's dumb all around. But it's just typical California trying to control every little piece of your life because they're a bunch of damn communists. But what is it? I don't care. Who cares about this? No one cares. Todd, do you care?
No, I don't care.
No, Todd doesn't care. Anybody else care? Scott, do you care?
Yeah,
I only care if you're trying to pick them up and they don't tell you how they're.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's a good point. That's a good point. But this is dumb. It is because who care? They lie all the time anyway. I mean, I've seen many people come up and saying, "I'm 42." Obviously, you're 78. It's quite obvious. But whatever. This is just typical California nonsense. But they do entertain the rest of us, though. I'd have to say that they do entertain us, so it's all good. Let's
Do
move
they?
on. They entertain me for sure. I'm often entertained by California, and I just occasionally I do have that dream where California falls into the ocean. But hey, it is what it
We
is.
can all dream, right?
It didn't
Yeah.
work for Lex Luthor. It's not going to work for you.
It may. I might be able to do Lex Luthor better than Lex Luthor. And the good thing about it, if California fell into the ocean, we wouldn't have to listen to John Dillard anymore. Ah!
Wow, that's a plus right there.
All right. Oh God, why do I keep seeing this stupid chick in front of me all the time? God, Dinale.
So this is from comicbookmovie.com. And she's not petitioning, but she's saying that she wants to play in Marvels in the MCU. And Anthony Mackie jokingly said, well, you can be the gay Captain America, because she was saying that she would only join the MCU if she would be able to play a gay character.
Well, I hope she never gets to join.
Yeah. And I'm saying this is the wrong way to go about getting a job, because as an actor, you're putting your own influence on the line. So if she doesn't get it, then that looks bad for her, and her leverage as a actor actually lowers,
Well,
and she'll have less movie, which, cross the fingers.
Yeah, that would be good.
But
we covered a little bit of the thing the other day, Dinale, where she came out and said, "Yeah, well, I was told that if I announced that I was a bigender, polar, lesbian, ZQ something or another, that I would lose jobs in Hollywood, so I had to keep it quiet," which is completely the opposite of the truth, and we all know that. So that was nonsense, because obviously we could see right through you, because she's not the most clever human on the planet. She was just trying to leverage her way into Marvel, and now we're seeing more leveraging. She really wants to be in a Marvel movie, dude. And I pray to the comic book gods, Mr. Kirby. I know you're looking down. Now Stan is with you. I want you guys to send thunderbolts and destroy these people. Anyway, so I apologize. But whatever. She's such a bad actress. If she was a really good actress, no one would care, and she'd have a job already, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
definitely.
Isn't she going to fit in perfectly with the MCU?
Oh, MCU, is that what's coming up? That's clever, George. That's clever. That was very clever. I heard someone sigh. Who was the sire, and who wishes to?
That's me. That's me. So I just like the way this whole tactic of, let me go and nag Marvel, and then they'll come back later and give me a job. Like there was a writer or somebody who basically said they would never hire me for whatever reason because X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
And then of course 6 months later, she's got a job there.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. But for me in particular, I don't care about all that kind of jockeying for position that these people do. I don't care about their world, to be honest with you. But the thing I do care about, because I could care less who Kristen Stewart is sleeping with. I truly don't care. But what I do care is that this is a very bad actress. I literally will say that. I'm going to say it out loud. Here it comes. You guys ready? Natalie Portman is better.
Whoa.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay,
It hurts.
Chester, what if she's sleeping with Santa Claus? Would you care then?
Well, I don't know. As long as Santa Claus is enjoying getting his nuts off, I guess good for Santa Claus. I don't know.
Hey, at least Natalie Portman's got the professional behind her.
You mean her husband?
No, I mean
She's-
Leon, the movie. She actually was in a great movie.
Yeah, she was in a great movie. You're right. She played the little kid in that. The funniest thing, speaking of Natalie Portman, my wife and I were watching. You know how those channels, YouTube channels, put together those digest of trailers. My wife and I will watch those every a couple weeks or once a month and just see what's coming up. And we were watching one, and we saw that Natalie Portman has a new movie coming out, and it's not a comedy. It's quite serious, but it was funny, dude. It's one of those movies that is good to go have a good laugh at, I think. But she is playing a aspiring astronaut who goes to extremes to get into space because she's a woman. And she was, but the funny thing is she's this little teeny scrawny person, right? Once again, I don't know how they're going to pull Lady Thor off. But the funniest part of it when she started speaking, because she was trying to do a Southern accent. Oh, dude, go check out that trailer. It is hilarious. She sucks a lot, and Kristen Stewart sucks extra. You are extra sucky, and I don't care. You boring person. But whatever. Moving on. Fun. Oh, goodness gracious! Oh, we get a look, and this is. Oh, go ahead, Dinale. Just go ahead.
All right, so this is Haley Steinfeld for the lead role of Kate Bishop, and I think what's concerning is they don't say this is Hawkeye's daughter, but Hawkeye, protege.
Yeah.
Who's going to be? So it looks like it's not going to be the daughter,
which is a shame.
It's going to, it's going to be. I'm just shaking my head.
Well, yeah, no,
it doesn't look good. I mean, the series it's not going to be ready until next year, anyways, at the earliest. So
in the comics, the female Hawkeye that was in that I don't know who, I can't remember the guy who wrote that, but she was his daughter.
Well, no, we're saying we don't think it is. We wish it was his daughter.
I thought maybe that's the way it was in the comic.
Yeah.
I mean.
No, it should have been.
Yeah, it should have been.
I would agree. That would make sense.
Okay. Well, here's an interesting little thing about this actress. Okay. The Edge of 17, not a clue. Bumblebee, one of the lowest rated movies of last year. Pitch Perfect, I never watched it. Maybe she's a great singer. I have no idea. These things don't encourage any kind of interest from me. But however, she was nominated for an Oscar in True Grit. She played the young girl in True Grit, the remake of True Grit, which was absolutely beautiful movie.
That was a wonderful movie.
Yeah, so she can do it, dude. She's got some chops, this chick. She does, man. She's older now. But she's got chops. She can do it. I guess it might just depending on the director. So I'm not put out by it. I'm more put out by the concept than I am of her. The only thing came to my mind when I saw this picture, though, and I'd like to get your guys' opinion. Hawkeye, whether it be male or female, is a high-end combatant, high-end archer, superhero, right? Does she look superhero-y to you at all? At even a little?
We're talking about fitness level. Is that what we're talking about?
We're just talking, does she look the part?
Well, if she does the exercise regimen that Captain Marvel did, yeah, she can look.
George, damn, dude, flat ass and all. I don't know, dude. But this girl can act, though, so it's not necessarily a bad choice. I just don't think she looks the part. But maybe someone over there saw something in her. The real problem is just simply changing all the characters to female, which is what the things we complained about in Marvel Comics, and they're doing it in MCU now. We see it very clearly. They're following that path, and it didn't work for Marvel, and they're on their knees, literally on their knees, because of their stupid wokeness. And you think this is going to work for you in the movies? Do you really? First of all, the dudes aren't going to be interested in it, and you seem to miss the point. Women don't want to watch women in a movie. Women want to see a hot dude, especially if it's in a comic book movie, which they don't could care less about. All they want to see is Chris Hemsworth with his shirt off. That's what they're after. And they don't seem to have any understanding of how women think. It's like, are you women? Or are you just a bunch of dudes who are thinking you know what women are saying because you're this little sycophant beta cuck to some strong woman around you? I'm not sure, but I'm telling you, it's not going to work for you because the women could care less and the men are going to be pushed off. So baka on top of baka. How about that?
I have a prediction. They're gonna the MCU is gonna try its hardest to make women single movies, ensemble movies, and all that stuff. And when the box office numbers drop like a rock, then you'll have the men come in and rescue the women.
Or what they'll do is say, "Oh, it's just superhero movie fatigue. It's superhero movie fatigue." They've been saying that for a decade, right? For a decade. Are we in superhero fatigue? And they keep making money after money after money. It's just stupidity, is what it is. But I'm not going to knock on this girl at all because I've seen her acting and she's capable.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah.
So you saw Natalie Portman act in The Professional, and do you think her acting got better as she got older?
No, and I think in The Professional, what you had was Jean Reno, a legendary actor and a very good director as well on that movie, who were doing their best to put a very young girl into the exact position they needed to shoot her in, and they got her doing the exact takes they wanted. If you have a good director who is organizing and manipulating things, they can get anything they want out of it. And if you think about Leon, then which is it's called Leon, by the way, outside of the of America. What if you look at her character in there? She is really a supportive character, and it's not doesn't require tons of acting. And the few scenes that they did require that, they just worked on it, focused in on it, and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I mean, she was really a cipher for the audience. She was
That's
a
right.
way for the audience to relate to either her druggy family, her crappy druggy family, or the killer with a heart of gold, or she was like the entry point for the audience into that life. Otherwise, there would be nobody to really kind of root for.
No, it's true. But Natalie Portman is the perfect definition of vacuous. That's just the reality of it. But she knows the right people, and from her own words, her own lips, she slept with the right people to get herself in that position. And that's not me saying it; that's her saying it, right? And of course, now it's all about me too. All right, that's awesome. It's me too. Okay. Let me see here. But I'm not knocking on this girl because she's probably a good choice. But anyway,
the thing that I would worry about with this series is just the fact that she's going to end up, let's say she's great, and she doesn't have an agenda, like, Captain Marvel had an agenda. The people around her and the people that are kind of steering this whole MCU TV verse those are the people we have to worry about. And do any of you guys trust those people at all now? Because I don't.
No, not even a
No.
little. No. And I agree, star storyteller. Yeah, I think it's true. But moving on here to our last story before we jump back over to our Indiegogo focus today. This is interesting. This is disturbing. Okay, go ahead, Dinale.
Yeah. This is from Bounty Hunter Comic. Piers Morgan calls out Pierce Brosnan for his call for a female James Bond, saying that the world is ready for a female James Bond, and to spice up the Bond franchise, they need to put a female. But he expects that that the producer, the Broccoli's, won't put that anytime soon. Piers Morgan, rightfully full, say Pierce Brosnan is virtue signaling and pandering to the left, and that it would ruin the brand. Paraphrasing it.
Yeah, no, and he's right. But here's the thing, Mr. Bronson, and we older folk here know him a lot better than younger people. You spent your entire career sexing up ladies. Your entire career was based on being the hunky, handsome guy. Remington Steele, and of course, you eventually were made James Bond, but way too late, in my opinion. But your whole career was about that. And now you're going to turn on the coin, and you're going to say, "Oh no, we need the females." Really, sir? Really? Next thing I know, Sean Connery's going to be saying crap like this. That would just, I think, it would break my heart.
Yeah.
Break my heart.
Imagine how much better James Bond would have been if nobody had ever heard of Dalton, and we just got Pierce Brosnan in the late '80s instead.
Well, Dalton was
Well,
a replacement for him. Go ahead, Dinale. You go ahead.
Yeah,
yeah. I was going to say,
Go ahead.
yeah, we were going to get Pierce Brosnan in the '80s, but a little show that Chester mentioned called Remington Steele
Remington Steele
stopped
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
because he was under contract. But he
Yeah.
was originally chosen
Yeah.
for it.
Now, Star Storyteller is a very good point. Piers Morgan has he's been defending the ideals of family and things like that quite a bit recently. And some people have said, like you said, who gave him the red pill or where his change come. But honestly, if you go back and pay attention to Piers and all the kind of crazy things he says and does, but particularly back when he was on what was that, America's Got Talent? Is that the show he was on? Or America. I don't know. He was on one of those silly, talent shows. But Piers has always been that way, dude. He's always been this way. I think people just forget
even
it.
a broken clock is right twice a day.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And someone here is saying, Michael saying, this is kind of interesting. Portman as Padme helped me realize I was going through puberty. Now I hope she doesn't find out, so I don't get me too'd. I don't know what that means. Me too'd. I get it. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, I don't know. I guess she's kind of pretty. She's scrawny though. I prefer more athletic women's. But she's got a pretty face though. That's for sure. Assuming that you put aside her premature balding and her thinning hair. But other than that, I think she's fine. John Dillard says, "I'm ready for a female Bond if they will cast an overweight, unattractive Mexican man from a border state as the Bond boy." Sweet. Which means John is putting up his hand. That's what he's doing. All right. That's pretty good, John. I'll take that. That's funny. All right, let's come back over here to our Indiegogo focus. And of course, today we're talking about Doorkickers Panzer Demon, which I love that name. But we're going to take a look at your perks here real quick and go through these and see what you got going on. Now, one thing you've done really well, which we always appreciate to see, is you have yourself a featured, which is awesome. So tell us a little bit about this featured piece here, which is about $45.
Yeah, so the featured is really all about people who want the book, and if you want both covers, this is the perk for you. Also, I've already heard a couple people say, "Yeah, me and my buddy living in UK are going to buy the book, and we just got the featured perk. We'll split the shipping." So actually, you get a little bit if you split the shipping from the UK, you actually get it at a slight discount of each of you. Ordering or two people ordering the individual books in the state. So it's a good way to save a little money.
Sweet, awesome. Michael Beacon says, "Attack of the Clones. Her white suit on Geonosis. You could see nipples." All right, Michael, calm down now. Calm down. All right, but that sounds good, dude. You get both comics of both covers, A and B, and it kind of
Right.
covers that double thing too. A lot of people like to get two, one to keep in the bag and one to read. It's quite popular little perk that people get. So you're covering that in your featured. I think that's a good idea. Let's see, coming down here, but I suppose if they're a true collector, they're going to have to get this twice. Oh well. But now you have a digital, which is very, very nice, and I think it's good. A lot of times people put the digital out really super cheap. I don't think you should do that. I think you should have a digital, and I think it should be comparable to your print. Now people say, well, that's not fair because you don't have it in your hand, but then again, they're trying to sell a comic book, so I'm all for that, dude.
Right. If you think the story is going to be good, you're willing to pay for the story, not necessarily the book. Now that being said, you save money on shipping, and Ro Kabir actually mentioned on the war campaign to me. He says, I'm in Canada, I got to pay $20 more.
Oh, yeah.
So having a digital really makes a difference. It doesn't kind of slam that door like a $45 book might do for a lot of people. So
No, I'm in Japan, so it's actually even more expensive for me. And I understand exactly what Ro's saying. But the thing is also we have to keep in mind one of the things we're doing here in this indie revival is we're trying to support good talent. We're trying to support things because we're trying to create a more stable and more vibrant indie comic book scene. Is what we're trying to do. This is why you see a lot of people doing the Indiegogos, Kickstarters. You see people doing webtoons. They're trying to expand and they're trying to keep this indie revival growing and being part of it. And I'm assuming that most of us here are part of that same thinking. We're here to save comics in a way, as obtuse as that sounds, but that is what we're trying to do in a microcosm anyway. And I think that's a good thing. So it's about support. So I have no problem paying more for a digital at all. I think it makes sense to me. But coming down here, we have the straight comic, which is the same. So rock on. Is that signed, by the way?
Yeah. Both of those are signed just by me, not the artist. It costs way too much to
Sure.
send books twice, essentially, to the artist and then get it back. So
Awesome. So we have
you get my
A and B. So awesome. Yeah. Now this collector's bundle, which has both of them. What else is in here that's different from the featured?
So there's at least one print, and I think there might be two. I'm not going to announce anything until after the campaign closes. A lot of that'll also depend if we get to that $10,000 stretch goal, which gets the extra 10 pages and kind of frees up a little money for something like an additional print. So I kind of want to I want to make sure there's something nice for all the physical backers, but I haven't announced anything yet because ultimately you got to get to the certain level before you're paying for the book. So
Well, you've already met your goal. You're at $8,000 right now. You got 12
yeah,
days, so fair chance, dude. Fair chance.
yeah, I'm hoping for it. I think I've got less than 2,500 to go. I had picked up some new backers today, so hoping we kind of inch our way towards it
Yeah.
as we close up.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, I think it's cool. And just keep doing what you're doing. Go on these shows, be part of it. I would make a suggestion to, be on time. Yeah, it'd probably be better.
And life happens, man.
Life does happen, but life can be managed and mitigated, by the way. But nevertheless,
Well,
we have original art page here. That's always a nice perk that they put in. I like this perk. Now, how many pages are you actually have? All 48? Or
so I've got 20. So 4 out of 20 have been claimed. So I had some great guys step up and get those.
oh yeah,
If the demand was there, I may open up a second, original art tier. Maybe change the perk around a little bit. But for now, it's just those 20 pages.
sweet. All right. So yeah, very nice. Nice tight little perk packages there. It's exactly what you need to have. We have not
And
only.
one thing I want to add. One thing I want to add: anybody who physically backs my book and then also backs Magic Cop is going to get the Magic Cop Doorkickers team up print.
Sweet.
So
Awesome. Yeah, no,
that's
Matt,
another kind of bonus.
we had them in here the other day, and they actually were talking about your project, so that is cool. But Magic Cop and Door Kickers here, I think it's a good-looking project. I love the fact that he's got dialogue here, so you guys can get a contiguous look at what's going on in these first few panels. I like it. I think it's nice, and this is a killer cover, by the way. I still. I'm enamored by it. But great looking project, guys. They even have some nice little origin, prequel type of audio storybook they got here. You can listen to and get some interest into. You like the idea of the story? Looks good, man. So anybody have any questions for Scott here? Nope. No. All right then. Well, I guess we covered everything that needed to be covered then. But I think it looks really cool, dude. Let me come back over the other side here real quick. And I always do that. All right. So thank you very much for coming on today, Scott. Zach, it was very nice having you on here, even though you didn't speak. I love what you're drawing, though. That's a nice lady. Who is this lady?
It's for Carl.
It's for Carl.
Deathsworn.
Yeah. And what is her name? She looks elven.
No, she's a She's a space vampire, I think.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So it's the space vampire. Now I remember now.
Mhm.
I do too many of these, I think, Zach. But yeah, yeah. Now I remember now. That's a good piece though you got going on, dude. I like your art though. I'm a fan of Zach's art here. But you could do elves really well, man.
Well, everybody was supposed to get me their stuff for tomorrow, and no one got me their stuff.
Oh,
You're
really?
listening, Bob or Slick, Jim, or I forgot who the other person was. They never got me their art because I was supposed to do that piece for tomorrow for our
Well,
group.
what I'll do is I'll handle it. I'll handle it live, and I'll get it all organized tomorrow, and then we'll have it for next week. Of course, the campaign's just beginning, so we do have time. But I do want to get that art done and stuff. Actually, I think you could do Els really well, because she has the ears are really good, but you have that nubile body. But yet it's still
Mhm.
an adult, So it's because that's the trouble with elves, right? If you do elves, it'll come off too much of a kid, right? Even though it's like a
Mhm.
200-year-old elf, right? But this is
Yep.
good because it's nubile, but yet at the same time it's an adult woman. Yeah, you're doing a great job with that, dude. But
Thank you.
nevertheless, thank you for being here, Zach, and don't be afraid to speak up, dude. You can talk, you can say stuff. All right.
No, I was just listening to Scott and you talking his project and stuff, and I would interject if I had something to say, but I didn't feel like I had anything to say.
All right. All right. Well,
I,
well,
I
happy.
I have something to say. I love this piece by Zach, and
Yeah.
Zach, I got the other stuff coming down the pipe. So if you're ever looking for some work, man.
Hey, dude, I'm always up for commission. Always.
All right, well, hit me up over on Twitter and we'll talk. I got something actually in the works right now.
Oh, there you
Right on.
go. Awesome.
I'll hit you up.
And you two, and both of you guys are youngins too, so that's perfect.
Yay.
Hey, that's good, man.
Youngin.
Good.
Jerk.
It's
You
good
jerk.
being the youngin. Hey, I got a response out of Zach. Finally, I found the button. Rock on. Of course,
Right.
we got Todd here with us, and that is a very interesting Wolverine in his samurai form. Back that up a little bit so people can see him the full picture because it's pretty cool, Todd. Yeah, back it up. There you go. There you go. Yeah, yeah, that's nice, dude. I like that. And he putting some color on it here during the show. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This
Show.
is going to be my live stream border, and that's what I've been
Ooh,
doing.
that's
Nice.
nice, dude. That's a good idea. Show him the snake eyes, man. I love the snake eyes.
Oh man.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Thanks.
Am I the only one who still prefers the original Snake Eyes goggles over the gladiator style ones?
Yeah, I know.
I think I am.
I think I like them both, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
They're
Yeah,
tricky to draw from every angle. I'll tell you that. They're not.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
But this is
He's so-
this is a beautiful piece.
You know what I
Mhm.
always say about gear, Chester. I really hate characters that have all this gear, but I actually pulled this off pretty good.
Yeah, well, yeah, but gear it's kind of cool because the gear tells a story, right? It is, unless you're Rob Liefeld, and then the gear just irritates you. But that's all right because it's kind of Rob.
Called the
You don't respect. You
funny
gotta
packs.
respect the gear.
Gotta call them fanny packs.
Fanny packs, is that what that is? Yeah. That also taking a look at George has been doing some art during the show too. George, why don't you back that up so we can see the whole image you got going on here? He's finishing up his Joe King, of course, which will be shipping soonish. That's nice, dude. I like the dinosaur, and that's a very colorful piece you got going on there, dude.
Yeah, it's one of the panels in the book.
One single panel, nice. Very good. Very good. It's superhero dinosaur. That's just what we want. But nevertheless, guys, thank you all for being here. Thank you very much to our guest, Scott. Nice to have you here, dude. Thank you to all the people in the chat. We love you guys coming in here, sharing your time with us every day, and all of those of you who go and watch it afterward, too. We appreciate you guys as well. And hopefully we can see you in here more often. But nevertheless, we're over a year now. We've been doing this. We're going to keep going. We got a lot of stuff in the works that's going to continue. Do keep in mind that tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is Bugbear's Basement, and we will be doing Moonshay Isles Episode 2. We got a nice D&D game. Ooh, indeed. Have a nice campaign going on. It's got they're going to get themselves in some trouble. And I'm curious of how long they will survive, because I have a feeling we might have I think we're going to lose a character At least one or two
Yeah,
eventually.
like I'm gonna die. I'm gonna
Yeah.
die next.
Well, I almost killed one of you last time, so I just kind of.
Yeah, you almost killed me, you jerk.
Yeah, but I'm kind of wondering if we're going to have a TPK. Well, dude, you and Bill are the ones that are sitting out in the front, so you're in the most danger. But it's going to be fun though. It's a cool. We're playing the Forgotten Realms, of course. We're playing the Moonshay. They're dealing with werewolves, which is always exciting. So definitely come back tomorrow and check that out. We know it's a bit niche, but come in anyway and enjoy the storytelling because it's fun. But other than that, guys, thank you very much. We got a lot of stuff coming up this week as usual. And Dinale, take us out of here.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, Scott, for being our guest today and talking about Doorkickers. Join the Immortal Mass newsletter at the email down below in the description at dinalescomic@gmail.com. And as always, your perception shapes your reality, so always make it a good one.
Namaste.
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 Later.
Later, guys.
Aloha.